Beyonce's album Lemonade came out well over a year ago, about 15 months within the next 8 or 9 days, in April of 2016. This was an album that actually got me to thinking about something my friend Henry Hopkins, who I've given many shout-outs on these videos, had told me about the vinyl boom of the 2010s. And it's that I, too, like him, have a tremendous interest in hearing newly recorded music, recorded with newer studio techniques and digital equipment on vinyl rather than reissues of albums that I already know what they sound like on vinyl. And, you know, of course, the price of new vinyl gets in my personal economic way. But thanks to the local record store, Bull Moose, they have a point system, and I was able to save up enough points to get this copy of Beyonce's Lemonade album, which is a double vinyl album, here today for half off. And I'm very thankful that Bull Moose allows you to save as you buy, so things like this can be possible for different economic levels. But this is going to be a very interesting video in the sense that it's going to be a mixture of vinyl unboxing, of a new release vinyl record, and it's also going to be an album review, something that I've just begun here. So we're going to do the unboxing first. Here's the front cover of the album. I don't know if you can read it clearly at this point if it's focusing on it. It says Beyonce's Lemonade, double 180-gram yellow vinyl, digital album, and the Lemonade film. I don't know how many of you out here are familiar with the multimedia nature of this album, or Beyonce in general. I'm sure it could number in the millions, but, you know, you never know. This album has an hour-long film to go with it that was aired on HBO, and a DVD of it came with a CD version. But I wanted the vinyl because you got everything. A digital copy, a download of the film, and there's the back of it. And now we're going to do the vinyl unboxing. I'm going to actually use a very light pair of scissors. I'm sure it's safer to use an X-Acto knife on these things, but I want to make sure I open this vinyl a little bit more cleanly. I saw in a recent video about how to take care of vinyl that no matter how much temptation there is, you should never leave vinyl in its original shrink wrap, because temperature changes will eventually damage your media. Now the album's a gatefold, and like with the CD, it comes with a booklet, and it's a really big booklet too. I'm going to open it up and show you. There are some pictures of Beyonce, always a fashion-conscious figure. From what I've seen on the internet, these pictures you're seeing here are different clips from the Lemonade film, different stills that were taken from it. Just showing you some of these pictures that are inside of here right now. I think that's Beyonce with her father. And some tribal makeup. Here's some photos of her with her husband, Jay-Z. It's a really, really, really beautiful booklet on vinyl. That's actually one of the things that I'm very happy about on vinyl. You get a huge version of this booklet. You can actually leave through with both hands. Just another one of those toys that don't need batteries. And I've seen this photo before. One of my favorites of Beyonce, actually. There's some credits. Now let's take a look at the actual vinyl. I don't know if you can see it from here, but the inside of the spine is also yellow. And here's the vinyl. As you can see, it's a solid yellow. It's not a transparent yellow. Yellow like lemons, and this is the Lemonade album. There was a lot of conceptualization that went into this album on a musical level that I will have to experience. And there was obviously the same kind of conceptualization that went into the packaging of the vinyl. So, there's the unboxing. And at this point, I am actually going to listen to this album, and I will review it for you. You know, now having listened to this album all the way through, I realize that, you know, Beyonce has been a very big part of my life for the last 18 years or so. Ever since I first heard the Destiny's Child song, Jumpin' Jumpin', and, you know, Beyonce became a very ubiquitous presence. You know, I like some of her work, you know, as a solo artist, Crazy in Love, especially Naughty Girl. You know, I love that as a song. But I didn't really get back into Beyonce again until the I Am Sasha Fierce album came out. And Beyonce really started to develop herself more as an album artist. And, you know, I'm a person who feels like Prince did, you know. Albums matter. And it gives you a chance to musically spread yourself out over a longer length. And, you know, ever since then, Beyonce has been doing that. But when I heard her last album, where she released it as a DVD, CD combination with all the videos of the songs included, packaging innovations aside, the album sounded like weak outtakes to me. You know, nothing really stood out, and I actually regretted I purchased that. And, you know, hearing Lemonade, you know, via online previews, I wasn't wowed by it. You know, 2016 was a very rough year with the election and violence and different issues. But getting it on vinyl and hearing the whole thing all the way through just gave me a different perspective. First of all, on the quality of the vinyl. This is musically, in most places, a very quiet album. A lot of the cuts on this are piano-based, atmospheric, built more around a modern music known as trap. You know, I would think a lot of younger people know about trap, especially now. It's not really my personal forte, but the songwriting on this is actually consistently excellent. In terms of the subject matter, if I understand it, it's basically about Jay-Z cheating on her. And, you know, that's a pretty typical subject matter, especially these days. But the place Beyonce takes it is absolutely amazing. But I'll go into a song-by-song review of this album as best I can and try to equate where Beyonce took, you know, the lyrics of these songs in relation to her own situation. The first song is called Pray You Can Catch Me, which has a lot of beautiful vocal harmonies to it, and the chord progressions build up a lot of drama. It's, again, one of the quieter songs. Hold Up is a straight-up dub reggae number, which I really actually enjoyed. Beyonce's voice has a gruffer quality on this that I actually appreciate. On Don't Hurt Yourself, she brought in Jack White from the White Stripes, and he provides sort of you know, an alternative rock soul aspect to it. It sounds like a more coherent version of an early funkadelic sort of song. Very psychedelic, very distorted, kind of funky more in spirit than in actual sound, but it's not a bad cut. You know, Sorry is another one of those, at least to me, kind of quieter ones. Another song I love on this album is 6 Inch, featuring The Weeknd. And what I love about this is it's very much built around a concept that I'll discuss in the album after I finish talking about the songs, and that's the idea that it samples the intro to Isaac Hayes' version of Walk On By from his Hot Buttered Soul album. Basically, him creating cinematic soul from the ground up, as my friend Henrique said of that album to me recently. And just to channel that spirit into the album really goes with what I had to say in the end. Daddy Lessons. Now, this is a song that she later re-recorded with the Dixie Chicks, and it sampled one of their songs. This starts out with kind of a New Orleans horn, trumpet sound, and then goes into a lightly Zydeco-tinged, you know, country and western song about her relationship with her father, who made a warrior out of her. I don't know if the lyrics are metaphorical, if they're literal. I can't say that I'd be pleased with, even from a black perspective, her advocate of the Second Amendment particularly. I think that's caused too many racial problems in this country already, but if it isn't literal, it's an interesting metaphor, so I'm not going to get too much into that as far as the, content of it. The next song that really got my attention, singled out off the album was Freedom, which is a very slow and very funky number, has a lot of bite to it, featuring Kendrick Lamar, and I like his rap on it. And, my least favorite song is actually Formation, where she actually talks about being the next Bill Gates, and, she performed the song at the Super Bowl with a Black Panther-inspired outfit, and there was a lot of controversy about it. But it's sort of a modernistic, hip-hop dance-flavored number. Pretty close to Girls, They Run the World, that kind of thing, Nothing that I'm particularly impressed with musically, although I do like the lyrics. And the reason I didn't discuss a lot of the other songs on this album is because, as I mentioned with the Isaac Hayes sample before, this album is actually very much meant to flow as an entire concept rather than a collection of songs taken out just to get hit singles. It definitely has that album flow. And a lot of people who wrote about this album actually seem to pick up on that as well. And it's very well conceptualized visually and musically. And in the last portion of this video, I forgot to show you this. This is the Lemonade download card. It's the inside of a lemon in black and white. When you turn it over, there's the inside of the lemon. And this actually came with a Lemonade video, which actually helped conceptualize a lot of things. In the video clip to the song Hold Up, for example, Beyonce appears dressed in the yellow garments of Oshun, who my friend Henrique just told me about tonight. Oshun was the Yoruba goddess of sexuality, love, and fertility. And the concept behind this album is that she takes the framework of the infidelity that she experienced from Jay-Z and puts it into the context of black women, especially throughout history, having to deal with infidelity and sometimes abusive behavior from black men that they're involved with, and that continuing to erode, relationships due to hardships from without, such as racism, institutionalized, and of the form. There are people. I remember when this came out, Henrique was sending me people who wrote, college thesis on this album, and that in a way was part of why I wasn't impressed about it. I actually, to a certain degree, I still wonder, and I really wondered then if Beyonce wasn't trying to politicize herself just to get media attention. But after hearing this album, I'm not so sure. I think that's actually part of what this album's about too, that she is trying to remove herself from an artist who's hungry for attention from without and turning inward a little bit. And she was seeking attention from without. She definitely had a Diana Ross-ish quality at one point, very much into being seen. And her attitude now is that if I'm going to be a visually based artist, I am going to make the visuals artful. And you can go on Wikipedia or go on the Beyonce site, and I'm sure you'll learn about all the different people that are inspiring her now. I mean, she's pretty private, but this album is definitely Beyonce seeing her music and her persona as a work of art. She doesn't seem to be seeing herself as somebody who is selling themselves. She is selling a message, not a product. And the message of this album would seem to be for black women or anyone who is on the wrong side of a relationship, to look at it in a broader context and not totally personalize it. That the personal is political, as a lot of 60s activists were known to have said. And this album actually reflects that. And, it's not a perfect album. I will say that. It's not a perfect album, but it's very much, you know, the extension of the new beginning that Beyonce began when she released I Am Sasha Fierce. You know, embracing musical styles and attitudes that were a little different than what she had done before. And, you know, bringing in guest artists to serve a musical function rather than just to be there. You know, it shows her branching out and becoming a different kind of artist. After hearing this, I'm really curious to see where Beyonce is going to take her music next. Because, you know, this more or less could be her Sgt. Pepper's, or her Music of My Mind, or her Pet Sounds, or her Hot Buttered Soul. An album that takes an artist into a totally new context, or her What's Going On, relating a personal experience beyond herself. And, you know, having heard this album and understanding what it is, and hearing the tracks I like and the ones that fit with the concept, the future for Beyonce could be, if not a bright one, a very, very compelling one for the rest of the world around her. Enjoy your music. Look forward to the future, what's going to be happening in music. In peace.